Hi everyone, and welcome to Handmade with Jody. I'm Jody, and we are filming here at my house in Ojai, California, which is probably one of the best destination points. If you ever want to go somewhere else and knit, come on up to Ojai. If you do come to Ojai, let us know and we will tell you the best places to knit and eat. Just wanted to say on our second video here that this is not just about knitting and it's not just about fibers. It's about things that are handmade. And for those of you who know me and my sister Janine, you know that we love shopping for handmade stuff. So that's one of the other things we're going to be featuring on this channel. And today, with that being said, I'd like to do a little feature of my sister Janine Ames, and the things that she has been making. First of all, let me just back up. Janine and I used to go to Celtic festivals, and Janine made some gorgeous Celtic jewelry. And for whatever reason, I decided to make mermaid pants. Don't know why they were Celtic, but that's what we took, and we sold them at the show. And they're still very fun to wear. Janine, however, has just really gone above and beyond in her jewelry. She does this copper electroforming with sea glass and gemstones, and she also makes these incredible pendants. But back to today's topic, which will be crochet. So crochet is much like knitting, but very, very different. Just like my sister and I are very much the same and very much different. Knitting and crocheting are both making loops through loops. And in knitting, you have a bunch of loops that you continually pull loops through back and forth. Crocheting, you do it one at a time, and then you go back one at a time. So there are definitely differences. Some people really love one and not so much the other. I myself really, really like both. They serve two completely different purposes. I will say that you can find probably more contemporary and more interesting knitting patterns than you will crochet patterns. There are a lot of instances where I combine knitting and crocheting together. So in preparation for this crochet video, I wore some of my crochet things. So let's take a quick look. These are crochet necklaces, which are really, really fun to make. They were when I was easing out of beading and into crocheting. So, you know, there you go. It's used, I don't like to crochet jewelry with crochet thread or knitting yarn because it's just too flimsy. So my sister and I started using waxed Irish linen, which has just enough stiffness to kind of keep a shape. And it's a matter of threading on beads and using a chain stitch, and you can make many, many layers. These are really fun, and we will probably do a video on just making these. And then we have the crocheted bracelet, which is going a step beyond. Again, with the beads, we have African beads in here, and this has a completely 100% cotton thread that most weavers use, and then I ran a piece of waxed Irish linen with it to give it a little stability. And so this is a chain that we then came back and did single crochets back and forth to add in the beads. So those are really fun. And then my favorite, which are these wrist cuffs, and these cross many, many parts of my creative career. We have beads, and these are tourmaline beads that I added in when I did the edging. Vintage antique buttons. I love buttons. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have a 5-shelf bookcase that is full of buttons. I love buttons. So this actually was done with a different sort of crochet called Tunisian crochet. Back when I was little, it was called the Afghan stitch. It's a 100% cross between knitting and crocheting. And they even brought a needle to show you. It looks like a knitting needle, but it's got a crochet hook on the end. So like knitting or like crocheting, you're going to pull up one loop at a time, but like knitting, you're going to let them all live on this needle. Then you're going to pull your thread through like crochet, one stitch at a time, and it makes this really solid kind of fabric, which I love. So yeah, I have a bunch of these. I make them all the time, and I even sell them once in a while. So check with me if you want to see some cool button wrist cuffs. Okay, back to crocheting. We're going to talk about the tools of the trade. What do you need in order to crochet? And need is a term I use loosely, always. My husband could have a little conversation right here about which ones I really need and which ones I really want. But most importantly, you need something to measure your work with. And yeah, this is my favorite, very cute, because it's got a little crocheted flower, but it's tape measure, cute. So tape measures are important, but here's the tip. We want you to walk away with something you didn't know after every video. If you forgot your tape measures and you need to measure something, please remember a dollar bill equals 6 inches. Of course, if you have kids, you may not even have a dollar bill, so you know, who knows. You need to have pens, highlighters, Post-it notes are always handy. Highlighter tape, I think they also call this washi tape. This is great if you have a bunch of instructions and you want to be able to follow one line clearly. You just underline it with this. It comes right off your paper really easy. It's always good to have stitch markers. Stitch markers to me are the paper clips of knitting because you can't ever have enough and you generally don't have them when you need it. So I have them everywhere. I have them hooked on my bags. I have a little container of them in everything. You can get round ones, which are not as helpful in crochet, but these are wonderful. They're called a self-locking stitch marker, so you can just hook it into a stitch. And I call them the paper clips of knitting because see this little container of 200? I think it cost me $5. Because I call stitch markers the paper clips of the knitting world, I will not chase one across the floor. I will not get down on all my knees and dig it out from under the couch because I bought 200 for $5. So I just get another one. And then whenever we sweep under the couch, it's like a gift. I have hundreds more stitch markers. And then last but probably most important, scissors. We need scissors. Don't be that person in the knit group who's going, does anyone have scissors? Bring your scissors with you. You can buy beautiful scissors. You can buy cheap, super sharp, wonderful scissors. I love these scissors. They even have a little guard on them. Scissors are super important. And then the other thing that I don't have in my kit, but really important, is you always need a tapestry needle. So be sure to bring a tapestry needle. Be sure to spend that extra $1.99 to get the little plastic tube it comes in so that you don't lose them. And then of course, this is the questionable need versus want. Project bags. We love project bags. So I'm going to start a project. I'm going to put it all in this bag, and this will go into my basket. So if you have a large basket, you can have 3 or 4 projects. Yes, good knitters, good crocheters have many projects going at one time. You just don't know what kind of mood you're going to be in. If you're going to sit and talk to people, you got to get the easy project out. If you're all by yourself and you want to ignore the person in the room with you, you want that really difficult project that you have to concentrate on. So these project bags are made by a wonderful woman in San Diego who does not put a tag inside of them, so I can't tell you her name. But they're beautiful because they zip right up, easy to carry. But when you're working on your project, all you need to do is fold it over, set it down, and you can pull your project right out of it as you go. Here's another one of hers. This is another beautiful project bag that you can find around. Let me see if it says, nope, again, no tag. Anyway, it's a beautiful bag. Room for a small project. Oh, and this one. If you just have to carry some miscellaneous things, a friend of mine gifted this to me, and I think it's beautiful. Again, it's a plastic, so it's not going to let everything get wet, but it's got this beautiful lace in the front. Really, really lovely. Speaking of baskets, another great basket, another friend of mine gifted me, and it's from, I believe, Africa. And it's got this great piece of cardboard sewn onto the front that has the name of the person who made it, which is so cool. Crochet hooks. That's the other thing you really need to crochet. These are the old-fashioned crochet hooks, and they are rounded, but they have this flat spot in the middle for holding on to. And these have the straight neck. Anyway, more crochet hooks. I kind of am really spoiled in a lot of ways because I grew up in Ojai, and Ojai it's now the hipster town, but it used to be the hippie town. And so all my friends were hippies, and so I would sit around the yard or the schoolyard or whatever, crocheting and knitting. And so my friends, the guys I knew, would carve me crochet hooks. So I have all these great crochet hooks that have been carved for me, and I really love this one. I'm not really sure what he thought I was going to crochet with this super long crochet hook. And I have beautiful wooden ones like this. I have a whole, of course, I have a whole collection of crochet hooks because, and you'll hear me say this all the time, my name is Jody XS James. If one is good, 50 is probably way better. We also have gigantic crochet hooks, and you're probably saying, what in the world would I ever use that for? Well, you would use it for this yarn called Love Nest Yarns, and you can buy this also at our local yarn store, Cattywampus, and we make beautiful baskets out of this. That's a good place to keep your eye out for classes. We have some good classes there. One last little bit of info about crochet hooks, and I am in love with these crochet hooks. I believe they're by Addie, which also they have great knitting needles, but they're these. And the way these are shaped, it's so easy to work with them, and they come in great sizes. And of course, you know, I've got my Delaque needle case, so it tells me what size, so I don't have to try and figure that out. Then I was looking online, and I have a very good friend, and I can't think right off the top of my head of where she's from. She came in one day with the most beautiful crochet hook, and of course, you know, crochet hook envy. So I'm looking at her hook and got the name of it, went home, looked them up, and was just mesmerized with them. And my husband, who's really tuned in, realized I really loved them, and he ordered me a bunch for my birthday, and they're called Furls, F-U-R-L-S. They're made out of wood, although now I think they do some titanium as well with the wood handle. But these are the nicest crochet hooks ever to crochet with. So if you're really looking for, and they're not that expensive, so if you're looking for something, a real treat for yourself when you're crocheting, try these. But again, much like knitting needles, you have to find what fits your hand and what you enjoy. And just to leave you with a parting thought, which again, you may not already know, my husband has often asked me why they're called crochet hooks. And he's a woodworker. I don't know if you know this about woodworking, but on a woodworker's tool bench, they have a crochet, because in French, crochet means hook. So he wants to know why we call them hooks. There you go. Okay, so if you've liked this video, or if you're one of my friends, whether you liked it or not, you need to hit like, you need to subscribe. I certainly hope you have already subscribed. You need to hit the notification bell so you know when we've posted the next video. And for sure, you need to tell all your friends, knitters, crocheters, the guy next door, I don't care who it is. Tell them to check out this video and subscribe. Also, you can all follow us on Instagram at Handmade with Jody. You can go onto our website, also Handmade with Jody, and you can sign in with your email address so when we go do something fun, you can go with us.